Hi everyone, welcome to another Make It Happen with Chamara series. Today we're going to have the opportunity to speak to Shawna Griffith, and she is of Right PR Services. Um, as we wait on Lashana, just a few things to note. I think she's actually quite an amazing person. She has, you know, come second place in the UN Sustainable Development Goals spoken word competition. She's also been the Writer of the Year for Going On Awards, People's Choice Awards for 2019 to 2020. She has, been nominated again this year as well, and she was a nominee in the iWoman Global Awards for her literature. She's gotten the prize of Best Reporter for the Hamilton Lashley Foundation and also Best Media Coverage with the Richard Stout Teen Talent Competition. And I think really with all of those accolades, it's quite the person that you would want on your team. Hi, Kimmy. Right. So we're going to welcome Lashana, and I'm going to take some time to just invite a few more people to the call. Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
hi, I am good. How are you?
I'm good. I was just telling everyone about what your accolades, so to speak, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you would have came second in the spoken word competition for the UN awards and so
Mm-hmm.
on, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, my
hi.
girlfriend. Hi, Kimmy. Uh, she actually
Well,
nominated me for this and then told me after the fact. So thank you so
yes,
much.
yes. And I'm glad she did, I'm welcoming the opportunity to really get to know you, you know.
Yes, please.
So, for those of you who don't know, this is the Make It Happen with Chamara interview series.
Mm-hmm.
And what the purpose of this interview series is really to inspire women by showing them what other women are doing in the world of business and how they're managing that along with their personal experiences. I find sometimes we tend to focus on the business and forget the personal, or we focus on the personal and neglect the business. So it's trying to really strike that balance between the two. Welcome,
True.
Kay. Um, and what I do is I help women to take bold, decisive action in their business through
Mm-hmm.
goals, business systems, and workshops, events, coaching programs that would help persons to get from point A to point B in their business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Not what I normally do is to start with a little game.
Okay.
And my question, I'm going to use the same question that I used the last couple of weeks because I really enjoy the answers. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine you've won $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
What are the first three things you're going to do with that money?
You said 5 million Barbados, 5 million US, 5 million pounds.
All right, let's go with 5 million. Let's go with 5 million US.
5 million US, so
Mhm.
9,998 million and 98 dollars. Okay. Um the first thing I would do if I won that amount of money, part
Mhm.
one, I would pray first because I have never seen so much money in my life. I probably would
Mhm.
need to pray and ask God for guidance on what to do with it. Certainly
Mhm.
I would give to the poor. Um I would like to build a school for the arts
Nice.
here in Barbados. That would be one. Probably just buy a house for all my immediate family that they are covered. Probably set up a trust fund for kids who want to go to school that cannot afford to go to university but have the potential.
Mhm.
Um, what else? I'm not really into material things, so it's going to be so weird. probably give probably give to the poor. Probably one of the things I also wanted to do was to do a halfway house for girls who are in dysfunctional households, so that they don't have to go to GIS. But that's a whole other issue that I've been very vocal on for the
Mm-hmm.
past couple of weeks. And as I told persons, I would not rest until I see justice, and I don't think justice has been served.
Yeah,
Um, I still think I have a lot of money remaining. I probably would need a financial advisor at this point. I'm not
that's
really
fine.
into material things, so like buying a
Mm-hmm.
car, I can't drive, so that is not feasible at this point. Yeah, mostly just give to the poor. Try to help as much persons I can,
Mm-hmm.
and provide opportunities. I will also invest in my business, of course. Probably take it to another country, and I always like Mexico, so probably I'll set up a shop in Mexico. Who knows? Um,
Okay,
yeah, that's probably it in a nutshell. Sorry to
fair enough.
disappoint persons who thought I would buy a Lamborghini.
Nah. I mean, to me, it's really interesting to hear the different versions of what people would do with it, and I really think it's good to be able to give back as much as possible. And I think you really have that giving heart.
Yes,
So,
please.
one of the first things I'm going to ask you, just tell everyone a bit about you and what your business does.
Okay, so hi all my beautiful people. My name is Shawna Griffith. I am the CEO of Right PR Services. Right, let's go with the name first. So in Barbadian parlance, when persons are talking, they usually say, "You hear what I say, right?" So I thought that was a brilliant name. So that's why I played with the Honophone, right. So we are
Mhm.
a public relations and social media marketing company, which was formed last year. But even though we were
Mhm.
formed last year, the concept for the business was registered a few years ago. But because I was a journalist and I won my awards and so on, I was like, I didn't give the business as much time as I should have. So, yes, I was performing, I was writing pieces, I was doing books, and they were doing well. But I found that I wasn't putting in as much as I could have into that
Mhm.
structure. So it just became dormant after a while. But with COVID, and quitting my job, and then COVID happened. I really had some downtime in
Mhm.
between to really sit back and said, hey, so I literally wrote a list. What am I good at? And I was like, okay, so for sure I'm good at writing. I have my degree in political science. And then I
Mhm.
said, okay, who do I have around me that have skills that should I start a business, they will be an asset to my team. So I looked at my partner. I said, okay, yeah, you do photography, you have skills. And I looked at my other friend. I said, okay, you did law. Makes sense for three of us to come together. And the business was started. In this past year, we've been privy to work with a lot of companies. And for me, it's not just, right, it's not just about having a client. What my thing is to assist the client, or assist as much clients that they are able to grow and their business can thrive. Because if they come to me and they told me that they want public relations, it isn't just about me earning the income from them. I want to be sure that they are always in the forefront of the press, that they are able to have that brand visibility. And
Mhm.
you know I always said, for me, when I become a boss, I want to be a boss that really cares about the clients, and not even
Mhm.
only the client, just cares about people in general, because that's just how I am. Up to yesterday, I assisted an elderly gentleman who had a wheelchair, and I pushed him to his destination. Well, onlookers watched me, and I watched the onlookers like, this is just a sight, but people are so selfish.
So,
People are so selfish. Like, I literally watched like four cars drive past this guy trying to push his wheelchair, trying to wheel his wheelchair. And you could see he's having difficulty, and people literally drove past and honked their horn, and no one got out to stop.
mhm.
And my heart sank. I was like, I cannot imagine this man probably cut cane and was one of the nation builders. I know he's in his old age. We drive past him in a car. Like, if that isn't heartbreaking.
Mhm.
And I went to the guy and I pushed him to his destination, and The guy was so pleased that someone just took the time to assist him. So
Yeah.
all of that, I say that to say, um, Right is a company that you can come and feel as at home. I tell all my clients that you cannot get rid of me unless I die because I see them as part of my family. So we have a very, happy structure. We are
Mhm.
always calling and checking in, even if you're a client and for whatever reason you tell us, okay, I can't afford to keep this retainer right now. Things are a bit challenging with me. I still call and check in because you may not, be on my payroll, but I still want to make sure that you're following what I would have told you to do in terms of your social media or that you're still making posts. So I I would see a client and they would post something and I'm like, uh-uh, this is not what you're supposed to be doing, my dear. No,
Fair
no,
enough.
please. So
Okay.
that's
So
just about me in a nutshell.
there's some things you mentioned there. Actually, one of the things I wanted to ask from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, because last week we had somebody who was into branding, graphics and branding.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to realize that there were blurred lines between branding and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But could you explain the difference? Because you also mentioned people's brands. What's the
Mm-hmm.
difference between PR and branding?
I tell people that it's not much, in my opinion. This is my
Hmm.
opinion. It is not much of a difference because your public relation or your press kit is a form of marketing. And I
Hmm.
find I have been explaining to persons that marketing is not only you getting a marketer, you having your brand out there. There's the back end. Does the press know who you are? Does the
Hmm.
public know who you are? Does international media know who you are? Is your business known by the average Barbadian? Is your business a Edwin Yearwood? That from the time he's on a live stream, you hear 1,000,001 people tuning in saying, the general's singing, so I gotta listen. If
Hmm.
that is not happening, you could have the best marketing. But if you're not in the Nation newspaper, Barbados Today, Loop News, The Advocate, Toronto Caribbean, Jamaican Gleaner, etc., then you're still defeating the purpose because for me, you need to do the two together. And that's why I've been arguing to businesses that you need to have a public relations because, for example, public relations is like the copy. When you post a post on Instagram, what are you saying?
Hmm.
Is the syntax and grammar correct? So things like that is why you would need a public relation person or a social media marketer to tell you this is the hashtags you should use here. This is how you would
Hmm.
get your branding out there. So it goes hand in hand. And that is one of the things that this past year I've been having meetings with various businesses to let them know that you need a public relations consultant in your business because we're the persons that not only make you look good, but make you on the lips of the public.
Okay. Um, mm. Would you say that there has to be a level of social responsibility if you want to get into the public relations aspect of your business?
I normally tell my clients, tell me the truth. Pretend that I am a lawyer. If you
Hmm.
lie to me, I will find out. So, for example, if you're a client and you're selling food and you don't have a health license, I can market you. I can do everything for you. I can do public relations. But mind you, when I go to the press and the press gives me a call, Shawna, your client does not have a health license, I'm going to find out. So I tell persons, pretend that you're going to court.
Hmm.
Please tell me the truth. I can only write and do your press releases saying you are who you are if I have the accurate facts. And I also do my due diligence as a trained journalist. I will Google you and find out. And if it's not on Google, I will search and I will go to the needed places and find out if you have a KIPO certificate because that is my job to ensure you're a legitimate business. Because if you aren't, not only do you look bad, I look bad. So I do all my due diligence. It can take a while, but I find KIPO has been very accommodating to fact check if a business is legitimate or not.
Fair enough. I also find that it's a little easier as well now that you can find out some of those things online. in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the businesses. Um, so you mentioned that the persons in your business right now would be you with your uh, expertise in literary art, spoken word, and journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is someone who's into photography, and then you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned somebody into in legal.
Yeah. So
Honestly, I was a little surprised to hear that. So I'm trying to figure out what really the connection is with the legal
okay,
person
so
and the PR.
the guy that does illegal, me and him, we were friends for a long time. We were friends for the time we were 3 years old. We both studied political science at UWI. He just happened to study political science and law. He went overseas to do a government scholarship, so he's actually a government scholar. So he has all of that background, and that background comes in handy for when we have to do our admin side with contracts and contractual agreements and ensuring that the client understands our contracts and our agreements. Um, the person that does photography, he's my partner. And when I started the business, we had the idea that as we're both trained in photography, that one of us should seek further training in Photoshop and Lightroom and editing and so on. So he pursued that, and he does the bulk of our photography, videography, audio, visual. So he has all of his certification in that. And then how it all merges is because I also did political science. So all of the analytics and policy implementation, business consultations, etc., all of that stuff. So it is a wheelhouse because I tell persons that I'm multifaceted. I not only did I do political science, but I also did sociology and literature and English and a lot of different subjects that made me multi-dimensional. So
Mm-hmm.
there is not really a lot of topics that I didn't try my hand in. And I find that studying political science, you were able to go across the faculties and try something new as an elective. So I did like economics, I did philosophy, sociology, management of business. So I was able to float a lot with that program. So I found that it made me well rounded. So that
Nice,
yeah.
nice. Okay, so what you mentioned that you had the business idea put down years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What was really the inspiration behind it?
Okay, about in 2015, I would have released my
Mhm.
first book, Lashana Unlocked the Door, when I was 21. And that book was doing really well on Amazon. It went on to Barnes and Noble and Walmart. And I made a decision that I wanted to register the name Unlock the Door, because that I was seeking to bring indie books to distribute them here and be my own distributor. That was the initial idea. So I would have registered that business in 2015, and I would have brought in the books in 2016. So I was doing my own distribution, going to bookstores, etc. And then after 2016, I then a girlfriend of mine told me, "Hey, Barbados today would like some journalists, and you're a good writer. Why don't you apply?" And I was like, "But I'm doing political science. I want to be I want to be a political scientist." Like, and she was like, "Well, let's try to try it. You never know." So I tried it, and I spent 3 years there before I decided that it's best to venture on my own. Because I'm very ambitious and I like new challenges. So at one point I just sat and I was like, I don't think I'm really happy with this. Like I
Mhm.
really would like to be able to do my own hours and have my own schedule and being able to do the things that I love without being confined to a box, because I'm a very out of box individual. I think that works for me in business because I like to look for the new ideas and see the parts of things that are not great. So I sat down, as I told you, I wrote my list with what I'm good at, and I said, you know what, I am going to start this business. And I started it. Fun fact, I took about 2 days to get the business on the Facebook page started on Facebook. And I remember I told my partner, I said, "Hun, I am rebranding and I need some logos done." And he looked at me. He said, "You're rebranding? So you're starting another business?" I said, "No, I'm rebranding the former one that the baby that I left and did not love. He looked at me and said, so what the name going to be? I said, I really don't know yet, but I doing up this page. I got an idea and I going with it. A few days later, I came up with right. And then it was like, okay, so what else do I want to do? I want to do PR. Okay. And it's a service, right? Okay. Name done.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally started with the Facebook page first.
Sticking. Let's see. Okay, so as we wait for Lashawna to come back, because she's sticking on my end, just feel free if you have any questions to ask Lashawna about PR or social media management. Feel free to jot those questions in the chat. Also, feel free to drop any comments in the chat. We lost her. Let's try to get her back. Okay. So as we wait for Lashawna to come back, just is there anything that you would want to know about PR or anything that's going on in your business that you want to ask any questions about at this time? Okay. Yes.
I
You
am
stuck
so
for a
sorry.
little while.
I got a call and I was trained to swipe cross and it sort of
No problem.
answered. So I am so sorry.
No problem. Right. So you
Yeah,
were
but
telling
I am
me,
back.
about
So
your
where was I?
rebranding at one. Rebranding the
Yeah, so
business.
I started the Facebook page first,
Mm-hmm.
and after I got the logos done by my partner, I decided that I was going to invite all my Facebook friends to like the page. So I started that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, brilliant idea. No content. What am I going to do for content? So I remember I called a few of my friends, and the first of the persons to answer was Ronnie Morris. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, Ronnie, Lashawna. And he said, yes, please, how can I help? I said, hey, I just start my own PR company and I need some content. And I know you got all of your following and all your contacts from when you ran Barbados Music Festival. Will you be interested in doing a short feature, a Q&A feature on my page? And it'll be the first one. So tell all your friends, all your contacts, all your celebs to just follow the page. So he was like, okay, Lashawna, you wrote stuff for me before and it was all well received. And no lie, that story I did with Ronnie got like 56 shares overnight.
Yes.
And Ronnie just told everybody he could to share this thing. And then I had 1,000,001 phone calls after that. And then I was like, okay, all right. So the Facebook page is working, but I need to keep content. And I remember I just called some of my creative friends and said, hey, crazy idea, started a PR company, need content. If you're interested, we have persons like Ronnie Morris on board, and he's willing to share the feature. So after that, uh, a few weeks later, I said, you know what? I can't only have a Facebook, I need an Instagram. So then I just started to repost the stuff from Facebook to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 2 more weeks later, I looked at my partner. I said, I'm going to create a Wix website. He said, you're going to do a what? I said, a Wix website. And I got the website up. And then I started to post more and more content. And after I got comfortable, then I realized, okay, all right, I need to train myself to do better graphics because I thought I knew how to do graphics from being in
Mm-hmm.
media. I don't even think that I am at the advanced stage, and that could be imposter syndrome. But I still think there's a lot more that I can learn. So
Mm-hmm.
I constantly teach myself if there are any free courses on Coursera or any university has a like 6 week course. I always go and do it because I am a brainiac. I like knowledge. I really love to learn stuff. Um, so then I started to populate the page, and as I populate the page, then you have more Zoom meetings and calls. And persons who are interested and they want to know how they can assist. So then it just bloomed, and now we're at the point that I think that most people know about the business.
Mm-hmm.
I found that a lot more people are finding us. Like before, it used to be persons say that they heard from a friend, but no persons call and like, is this right? Right? And I am taken back when they call to ask if this is right? Right? Because usually they're like, well, John down the road tell me that
Yeah.
you is do some PR and I want to get in the nation, so you can help me. Usually that's how the conversations go. But no, up to today, someone called and said, I'm calling to speak to the owner of Right PR. And I felt so good. Like after I put on the phone, I did a whole little happy dance. It was like, it's happening.
This is good. It's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
like dancing actually.
it is really good that you've been rallying the troops. You know, you started to rally the troops and get the word out there.
Yeah.
I think that's something very important, and sometimes some of us don't look or take a deeper look at who we have in our pocket, so to speak, or supporting us.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I was lucky to have so many creatives and friends who,
mhm.
when I told them I have this, and I remember I told them I have this crazy idea, and they said, "Okay, Lashana, how can we do it?" And I was like, "Well, I told you guys I have a crazy idea. You guys are willing to come on board, then we all must be crazy." And I must say that a lot of my friends and families, they supported it like so much. Like I I could not have asked for the this reaction, and then to
Mhm.
the respect that came with it too, because like my friends in the media, they all still support me even though that I am not employed there. They all share good vibes, and they're willing to like run my stories or run my features. So I must say that the experience has been so good so far. I am very thankful and blessed.
One of the questions that I usually ask is how important is it to have support systems? And you literally just mentioned in terms of the support of your family and friends. So where do you see that, or do you see that as important in the success of a business?
Having the support is, wait, I got a little, my head cut off. I know what's going on. But having the support is very, very, very important.
Mhm.
However, I am cognizant of the fact that there are some persons who want to become entrepreneurs and would leave a job that people perceive to be paying well, and there is that clash that could come. What I would tell a business owner that does not have that support is to really dig deep. Um, and the reason that I say dig deep is because you have to know that this is what you want to do. This is your purpose.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to know that this is what I am going to do, and there is no backup plan. Um, and I say there's no backup plan. I always have a plan B. I always tell myself, well, I could always have my BSc in a very niche field. So I
Mhm.
could always go back to that. But in really and truly, if I be completely honest, there's no backup plan for me. I plan to do this business till I get old and gray. Um, so if you don't have the support, dig deep, write
Mhm.
down. I don't know how much people still journal because I'm an old fashioned pen and paper girl. But journal,
Mhm.
write what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. I have you. Okay, the to-do list. Yes, I talking to everybody on here about the to-do list. Your to-do list can have 100 things, and if you complete two, feel good, because some people don't complete any.
It
I
is
put it up my
true.
hand for that. Some people some days do not complete any.
Mhm.
um and feel good about the to-do list. Let it be short-term goals. If your first goal is you want to do a Facebook page and you accomplish that, girl, drink a glass of wine. Have your glass of wine. You completed one thing for your business, and things like that. And as you grow, you write more goals and things you want to achieve. And a lady told me, one of my former bosses told me, what you write and you tell the universe, it will manifest.
Mhm. I
At that
agree.
time, I did not understand what she was telling me, and I really had to do some soul searching to understand what she was telling me, because she said everything you write down gonna happen.
There's a lot of truth to it. I believe there's a lot of truth to a lot of things, but that's one of the things. I'm big on journaling. I like a lot of writing myself. My daughter always asks me why I'm always writing so much. I find
Yeah,
some of the younger ones of today, the whole writing thing is like, nah,
yeah,
but I am very old-fashioned as it comes to that. I also love reading real books, so
yeah.
old-fashioned in that sense. We have a question
Mm-hmm.
from Ben Twist Bliss. It's
Mm-hmm.
called, how does traditional media determine which press releases are important?
Okay, excellent question. Traditional media will decide if a press release is important based on what they have in the newspaper. And this is, my knowledge is from 2 years ago, so it's subject to correction. Normally, when we were working when I worked in the media, short with Barbados Today, and then I did some work with Better Health Magazine at the Nation newspaper. What
Hmm.
you do when you get a press release is you will read it. And there are some things that should be in any press release. Relevance, um, who the person is, what is their claim to fame, and what is the issue that they are speaking about, right? It would usually be about 500 words. Now, let's say that day is a slow day in the newsroom, there are hardly any stories coming in. I am believing that right now, especially with COVID, is the perfect opportunity for small business owners to send in press releases because the truth is they're looking for news. There's not much happening in terms of crime, violence, and so on. So they're looking for those feel good stories. Um, so they will determine based on the press release. Once it's well written, there's not much changes to be made. It will be published as is. If it is that the press release is something that they believe that you need some additional information for clarity, they will
Hmm.
usually contact the person that is listed there as the contact person, whether it be your PR consultant or whether it be yourself. And you should always when you send a press release to a media house, please put a contact number. We cannot reach you if you do not have a contact number. And it's not all the time that you may reach a desk that someone will email you. So please put a contact number to the bottom for further
Hmm.
information. I hope that answered your question, Ben Twist Bliss. I hope it did, but usually it comes down to that. And even if and when it's published, you usually say a thank you. So you can call the media house and say thank you, where I'm happy that you published this. Or you can also follow up yourself. But media houses usually publish press release and it's dependent on the day. So let's say the day was late, they may publish at least 2 to 3 per day, depending on what they are.
Now that you say that, how important is it for a press release to sound like a news article?
I think everyone has a different style. So I wouldn't say to sound like a news article because remember a news article is very, let me pick my word. Some news articles can be very sensational in that it's, sorry, can be very sensational in that the headline is misleading or it can be clickbait. Um, so I would say that when you do your press release, just stick to the facts. And one of the things that I learned is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And that is an old journalism term. When you write the press release, write it as though you're talking to someone in Bridgetown, one of your girlfriends. But in proper English, not in, broken English. You're talking to a girlfriend about your business. So the first thing you will say, well, Chamara, I am the owner of Right PR Services. When was the business formed? What do we do? Why should I put you in my newspaper? And when you think
Hmm.
about those things, why should I put you in newspaper? Okay, what are your accolades? What is your claim to fame? What is the issue you're speaking about? So let's say I'm speaking about why public relations is needed in human resource departments. Then
Hmm.
that is it. And then you write it in a way saying, well, Lashana said, blah, 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 blah. Da, 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 da. And then you said, well, her stats is because of her expertise. And you normally go that way. Or you can write it in a way you say for immediate release. And this is the new product or services that Right is having. And we are
Hmm.
launching a new MasterCard. That's just an example. No one called me about MasterCards. I am not to that level as yet. check me in a few years. And we're launching this MasterCard, and we want the public of Barbados to be aware that we're launching this MasterCard. And you form it like that, and you send it to the press. You usually have to the top press release for immediate release date. In the center will be the title, and then you have your middle beginning paragraph, your middle, your conclusion, and then at the bottom you have for further information, you can contact, telephone number, email address. If you choose to put your Facebook and Instagram, even better. And you put that there and you copy it to the editors, and you say this is a press release and I am kindly asking if you can publish this in your publication. They will either tell you yes, no, maybe so. A journalist will follow up, and then you go from there.
Okay, so Bentwist Bliss said thank you, and Time Washir, I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, said big up. Based on what you're saying, you mentioned about the press release and sending it to the editors. Is it okay to send the same exact press release to multiple media houses, or should you change it up a bit?
Normally, if you're sending a press release, a standard press release, you send it to all media houses. Fun fact, so let's say it's a governmental press release. We all get the same one. The Prime Minister Motley does not change her words because she's sending the press release to Barbados today, and she's going to put something else juicier for the nation. It's the same press release across the board, and she's the Prime Minister. So as a business owner, you can do the same thing. You can send it and you can copy all media houses and say this is an official press release, and I am hereby asking, or however you want to word it, hereby asking you to give this press release coverage. Contact me for more information. And usually that's how it goes.
I think this kind of goes back to what Bentwist Bliss was asking. Would you say it makes a difference if I, as a business owner, sends it, or if somebody who is known, like let's say for instance you, known in the industry, to send it? Do you think you might get picked up a little faster than me sending out a press release on my own?
It depends, as I tell persons, it depends. The first thing that I tell clients who want to do it on their own, make a connection with someone in the press. So that's step one. So you can call them. You can call The Nation. You can call Barbados Today, call New News, The Advocate as well. I find The Advocate is very accommodating right now with press releases. And you can call and you can say, hi, good afternoon. My name is Chamara Hollingsworth. I have a excellent program called Make It Happen. Look at how I wrote that in. Called Make It Happen with Chamara. And I am wondering if you guys will be willing to accept press releases from myself. And they can tell you yes, they can tell you no, they can tell you what's the stipulation. Or you can say, okay, I'm calling and I'm interested in becoming a Wednesday woman at The Nation. Would you guys be willing to feature me? And they may tell you yes, and you can say, okay, well, I have my press kit that I can send you. Or you can say, okay, well, if you're interested, can we have a Zoom? And and most media houses are very accommodating. So much of the journalists are happy to be working from home, and they're so glad to see someone face to face. Trust me, trust me on that. Because obviously when you're at home and you have off your mic, you're so glad to see somebody finally. So this is the excellent opportunity. COVID is the excellent opportunity to have a feature now, because they're looking for content. And I have found in speaking to some of my former colleagues that they are desperately looking for content. So if you are a business owner, or potential business owner, is the excellent time now to pick up that phone and call someone in media and get that story done, because they're desperately looking for content.
I can imagine that would be a good time for charities as well to put content out there.
Yes, excellent time for charities, businesses. Okay, I see. Wait, I see the message, Kimmy, coming to you.
Let's read it out, right? So you finish that, and I'll read it out so that you can.
Yes. So now is the perfect time for anyone doing something positive to reach out to the members of the media. And I remember when I was at Barbados today, one of the things that I would have spearheaded at that time was called Positive Vibes. And Positive Vibes came about because I just reached a point that I was just tired of writing the same story. Someone was shot, someone was murdered, someone died. And I was like, okay, we need as a media house to really and truly have a column that is dedicated to young people doing exceptional things, or young creatives, or anybody that is doing something that is not negative. And I pitched the idea and I got to do that. And even though that chapter closed, I am blessed now, drum roll, to actually have a column called Spotlight Features in Toronto Caribbean newspaper, which is one of the largest Caribbean newspapers in Canada. So that opportunity stands, and it is a free opportunity. So any business owner who is interested, you guys can DM me, slide in my DMs. Only for features. This is not an open invitation. My husband is on this live. He will he will respond on my behalf if it gets out of line. Business only. Let me say that again. Business only. Or my husband will have my device and respond to you guys if you're cheeky. All right? Good.
Okay. So before we get to Kimmy, you mentioned the press kit. For persons who don't know, what does a press kit include?
Okay. Simple way of explaining a press kit. Your press kit would have in your biography, whether it is your professional biography or it is your creative biography, where it would have your name, address, accomplishments, achievements, educational pursuits, notable achievements that you think persons should know. So if you're a professional, let's say that you won a debate championship in Dubai, you put that there. If you're creative and you would have traveled or represented the country, singing, dancing, acting, doing poetry, you put that there. Also in there, you would include a high def photo, not a cell phone pic, not a picture that your mommy took, not a picture, professional pic, i.e. studio, Load 87, right PR services. Just had to do that plug. But a professional photo. You add that professional photo in there. Why do you add a professional photo? Because this is the press kit. You're telling the press that everything in here can be used at any time. And a professional photo, you certainly don't want to see your picture in the nation, and it's fuzzy, and it's not attractive, and it does not, portray you in the best light, We all cannot be Beyonce knows, but we all can look a certain way presentable, right?
So no selfies, like with it,
no.
No.
Professional photos, your face, you wear your jacket, you're nicely clad. You can have on your shirt. I normally recommend for business owners, the place that I go, because it's affordable. You go in S.Y. Adams, you get your dress shirts. You can go and get them printed at an affordable cost at B3 Imaging, and you wear that, and you wear your slacks, and you go to this, you set up a professional photo shoot where you tell the person that you will want some headshots as well as shots from mid-torso. You're going to look into the camera. You're going to smile because you're happy that you have your business. You're going to show all of the teeth the Lord gave you. And you are going to enjoy yourself, because these pictures can not only be used in your press kit, you can use them on your page. You can use them on your Facebook, on your Instagram. All of that goes into it. Also in your press kit, you may want to include a clip, a video of you performing, or a video of you as a professional giving a talk, a lecture, so on. You include that there. And if you have any articles or features or anything that you would have been in, you can include those clippings as well. And then you can have a brief synopsis as well in there. And that would be a basic press kit. Some people include more things. So like if they're a musician, they may include samples of their work. They may include their portfolio if they're a photographer. Professional people like myself, we also include our portfolio with writings we would have done, awards we would have won over the years, clients that we would have worked with, and you add all of that in there because this is your selling point. So you're selling yourself to the press, right?
So it's
So
very,
picture
very
that you
important
were
that.
going for a Grammy
Mm-hmm,
and everything you're going for a Grammy award,
mm-hmm.
everything you would want to say in that 1 minute is now in your press kit. And this is your introduction to the world.
Press kit, media kit, all the same thing, right? Just
Yeah,
different
similar.
term. Okay.
Yes, different terms. Yeah, depending on, if the person is a more mature young person's call it press kit, more mature would say a media kit, or they would
Mhm.
say a your media correspondence kit. The terms
Okay.
vary, but it's the same thing overall.
Okay. Okay. So, and I think in this you answered Kimmy's question. She was asking when choosing images for your business, how should you go about choosing the images, or if there are any tips for choosing the correct images? And you did mention headshots, shots from the
Mm-hmm.
torso, nice smile. So those
Mm-hmm.
are and high def. So those would be like
Yes.
the key elements of the photos that you should choose when you're
Mm-hmm.
using it for your business. How important,
Agreed.
like pardon?
No, I said agreed. But if you're posting to social media, colors are important.
Mhm.
And I always say colors are important. Certain colors invoke certain feelings from a person viewing your page. In my all of my research, the color red does not sit well with persons. Red brings a notion of anger. It can bring anxiety. It can, yeah, the color red. When persons see the color red,
Mhm.
like on a business page, it doesn't really always go well with persons. And I have done a little survey,
Mhm.
asked the person, "How do you feel about red?" And the response is that it usually gets them feeling a bit perturbed.
Oh, that's interesting. Mm, would you say that maybe the accent colors would help? Because I actually have been seeing a page recently with a lot of red, and it just
Mm-hmm.
feels like bold, not necessarily angry, but it's actually pretty
Mm-hmm.
refreshing to see. But she has like red and beiges. I don't know if the beiges
Okay.
kind of tone it down.
I've been seeing a bit of red, but
Mhm.
however, it depends on the owner. If the owner is, bold and confident, assertive, they may choose red and have accent with the red. But
Mhm.
I find like on typical social media pages, I would advise to stay away from red unless you have that bold assertiveness.
Mhm.
Um, Stay away from red, happier colors. So, for example, I was having a meeting today with someone who owns a spa. And I told him for a spa, you will have those, inviting colors, yellows and
Mhm.
creams and greens and pinks and purples, colors that scream inviting, relaxing, maybe the blue and the teal and so on, because you want the colors to invoke it's a spa, it's a place you come and relax. You won't really find a spa and you have like orange and earth tones, and it would seem a bit odd. So you
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
look at the colors that would be inviting, that when you go and you sit or you go on the page, you feel as though you're going to a spa. So you try to, all of that goes into planning your social media page. How do you want people to feel when they come to your page? Do you want them to be happy, or do you want them to be perplexed? Do you want them to feel as though they're in a safe space? Um, all that you think about when you're planning for social media. And also
Okay.
grammar. Grammar is important. I did my finger like my teacher. Grammar is important. I cannot stress that enough. Grammar is important.
So here's a question. Like
Mm-hmm.
for instance, and I guess this can go back to branding as well. I
Mm-hmm.
speak proper English. However, I
Mm-hmm.
also speak Bajan. And sometimes I like to interchange between the two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you might see me put up a post and most of it is in proper English and then I drop in a little Bajan slang in between. That's okay?
That is fine. Once you communicate it properly, I don't have a problem. Because there
Mhm.
is a guy that I hope I'm calling his name right, but it's Kelly's Cakes and Things. And his slogan is that we have the RH cake. RH in this sentence is real homemade cake. But
Mhm.
I love it. And his hashtags are we got the RH cake. And I told him he should put that on a shirt.
Mhm.
Because I absolutely his captions are so refreshing because he plays on the word sometimes. So it's so refreshing. And he has that Barbadianness in his captions. So that works for him. However, if you're someone that is doing like copywriting or editing or something that is perceived as you have good grammar, you may need to play with it a
Mhm.
bit and weave in it too. But I'm thinking about my page. I don't really use it. I don't really use a lot of Bajan dialect. That's just me personally, because
Mhm.
that's not really how I speak. I'm sure Kimmy can tell you I use standard English even in typing on WhatsApp. Because I believe that if you train yourself to do something properly, after a while it becomes a habit. So then you're
Mhm.
on autopilot. It's very I don't find it challenging, but I will have to be extremely comfortable with someone to break into my Bajan dialect and you know, yeah, John, what's going on? Da, 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 da. But I try to, you know, just speak properly because how you speak is how you write, and it's something that bothers me, especially when I'm editing documents and I can tell from reading the document that this is how the person speaks, which is very disheartening sometimes.
It can be. It can be.
Very disheartening because
Mhm.
I literally have seen documents with WZ as was and can, like Beijing can, CAHN, um, Gine, Gine, instead of going. So I understand it and I would fix it because I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. But usually 70% of the time, persons write the way they speak. If you train yourself to speak properly, you would write properly. But if you
Fair
speak
enough.
badly, you are going to slip into, despite you may have a grade one in English, you may slip into writing the way that you speak.
Mm, okay. Not sure. Well, I see it, but then I really also believe that it, I think it really depends on some people have the ability to very easily switch between the two because they know
Mm-hmm.
better. And I think is if you don't necessarily know better, then you would find yourself um, writing the same way you speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it, I think there could be a little bit more to that than just if I speak this way, I will write this way because there are some people that just how they speak is how they know English to be. And that is why they would write in that way. Whereas there are others who might speak Bajan to you, but then they step into a meeting or they're writing a document for work and it's completely different to how you would normally hear them speak as one-on-one individuals or put are close. So I think it's not necessarily so black and white as in how you speak
Mm-hmm.
is how you write.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed. I was just stating my
yeah,
what
yeah,
I
I
have
understand.
seen.
Yeah, I get you fully because I see a lot, especially in messages, when you're doing WhatsApp messages or even messages on Instagram and so on, then the way people might start to talk to you sometimes you have to read it two or three times just to understand what they're saying. It does happen. I fully get
Yeah.
you. Bump and Beyond 246 is saying this is great information. I'm seeing a lot of hearts going up in the chat. I am really enjoying this. I'm going to pick one more question for you before we go. All
Oh,
right. Just
I
trying to
can't even
decide.
see if persons are sending messages. That's so interesting.
Well, no, because
Oh my God,
you're
Joe
not.
Media joined. I am having a freak out moment. I am a big fan. Tracy, big
Right.
up yourself.
So, what is your definition of success?
Hmm. I remember when I applied. Oh Lord, I remember when I applied for a job uh, at a place I did not get the job. They asked me that question, followed by where do I see myself in 10 years? And my answer then was the same answer, you know. For me, success is not how much money I have, it's how much lives I impact.
Mm-hmm.
For that job, that was the wrong answer. It was the dead wrong answer. The guy said, I'll call you back. And I knew that that was the wrong answer. But it's an answer that I always hold true. It's
Mm-hmm.
not if I have $1 million, it's if I impact 1 million lives. And I have always held firm to that because, you know, for me growing up in a Christian household, it was what it was taught. You know, my great grandmother was a sexton, and we always learned service above self. Um, so yeah, that's success for me. If I impact 1 million lives, and I have 1 million clients who are now in a position that they can earn $1 million each, I
Mm-hmm.
would feel better. Especially if they're all Barbadian businesses, I probably would be rolling in my grave, God forbid. um, because I would be just happy because that's what's needed in Barbados, man. We need to
Mm-hmm.
have a lot more Barbadian businesses, you know, and I would love to see some younger persons, you know. There's no reason a 15-year-old can't have a business and doing it properly and doing it well, you know. So
Yeah.
that's my definition of success, that I impact 1 million lives. And 1 million is the benchmark, but it could be 10 million or 1 billion lives. Who knows, you know? I still got a lot left in the tank.
Yeah.
Still got a lot left in the tank, you know. I plan to live to 100, so I got a lot left
That's
in the
it.
tank.
Okay. It is not how much money you have, but how many lives you impact. I think that's actually a very powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we go, could you
Yes,
please tell
please.
people how they can reach you?
Alrighty. So, get you a friend like Kimel. I just saw her heart. Um, to find me, you can follow me. I think I'm up here on this area here. And I can also type it here. Let me hope it doesn't cut
Mm-hmm.
off. But you can follow me at Right PR Services 246 on Instagram. I am also on Facebook at Right PR Services. On Twitter, we're on Twitter at PR underscore rights. And we are on every single messaging platform. So we're on Telegram, Signal, iMessage, WhatsApp, what else am I forgetting? Telegram, Bip. So you can find us on all of those platforms. The only one that I am not on yet is TikTok, coming soon.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
coming soon. But we're on every single social media platform. Just type in Right PR Services and you can reach me. My contact number is listed on all of the pages. So if you guys want to send me a WhatsApp message, a message, whatever, you can reach me. I am very reachable. Um, yeah.
Thank you so much, Lashana, for
Thank you
joining us tonight.
too.
And thank
Thank
you
you
everyone
too.
for joining us and listening in and engaging with us once again. And feel free to follow me at Make It Happen with Chamara on Instagram or Facebook, and to follow Lashawna at Right PR Services 246 on Instagram. And she did mention the plethora of other
Uh,
social media platforms that you can follow her on.
I'm
Kathleen,
noticing
thank you for your
messages.
comment. She's saying it was a very informative interview. I really think so as well.
Thank
Um,
you. I'm now seeing these messages after the fact, and I'm here trying to see them even though I'm wearing glasses because they're not coming up into time.
Most of them I would
I'm
have
now
read
seeing
out
it.
though, so that's fine. I normally
All
try to
right.
read them out
Thank you, guys.
in the in the live. Yeah.
Thank you. But
So
thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure being here with you guys tonight.
it was a pleasure having you. So have
uh,
a wonderful night, everyone, and we will be seeing you next week for our next interview. Good
yes,
night.
please. Good night. Blessings.
Bye bye.
Bye.